Hey Legionnaires, and welcome back. We're here with another Napoleon Total War 3 battlefield today, and this is a glorious 4v4. We have some great fine uniforms here and some huge glorious armies that just look like they're ready for a battle, or ready for a real scrap. And there has already been a tiny little bit of a skirmish over here. It looks like we've had a French cavalry force fighting off against some Holy Roman Empire. I was about to say, I don't know what I was about to say, to be honest, but I'm just bemused that we have the Holy Roman Empire here. They're like such a strange faction that we have here, but they are kind of technically separate from Austria, I guess, in a way. But yeah, so we have the Holy Roman Empire here. We also have one of the Russian factions, 1799 variant. We also have the Helder expedition. We had them in the last battle that we had on the channel for Napoleon Total War 3. And we also have the Prussians from 1806 here. We have the French facing them today. We have the 1805, 1808 variant of the French. We also have the Ottoman Empire. We also have the Persian Empire, and I'm pretty sure we have the French Orient Empire, army here as well from 1801. So this is going to be an interesting fight. We've got some very interesting areas. We've got some like early period factions like the Russians and this French Orient army. We also have some unusual factions to be brought, like the Helder expedition and the Iranians and the Ottomans. Arguably, like certainly the Iranians and the Ottomans probably, like at this point in history, are weaker than like some of the more Western factions. But you can, I mean, look at these French in bright purple. What's this? It's just like one of the line infantry units, but they look interesting. Can't imagine that unit being used in like the East, but I guess it was. It must have been, obviously, for it to be in this game. And again, bright red. That's very un-French-like. That's very much like a British redcoat sort of style. But they are coming over here and to face off against a lot of Holy Roman Empire cavalry, it seems, at the moment. Looks like the French and the Iranians are also testing the water over here with the Russians as the Russians take this town. And in Napoleon Total War 3, the aim is in most of these battles to take these towns. So you can see here, this little yellow marker with a little 1 next to it. That 1 marks how many points it costs. And this city here, or this town here, is worth 2. So it's obviously like the key town to be fighting over in this battle. So I imagine we'll see a lot of fighting going on there. And a building has been captured. I presume this is going to be, yeah, it's a building here, captured in the main city by the Russians. So, I mean, it looks like the Russians are going to dig in here, and they're going to be in for the long battle. As they look like they're going to send up a charge to keep. They've been doing this before I started pressing record. They've been just charging upwards towards this cavalry by the Iranians, but to no success. They just keep running away. But it looks like the Holy Roman Empire here might be forced to retreat because he's going to walk into an entire French army, and he's just got cavalry and a bit of artillery here. So, I mean, he's taken out 1 cavalry unit. That's great. I'd fall back before you take any serious losses of your own. But I mean, certainly the Prussians and the Helder expedition taking their time getting there. Looks like the Holy Roman Empire as well is also a long way away from supporting his cavalry. I mean, you can see all the units here. They look very Austrian. Obviously, the Holy Roman Empire and the Austrians are very, very well, they are basically the same faction, have the same ruler at this point in history. We have Francis the First or the Second, I'm pretty sure, of Austria at this point. Who's in power, so it will be interesting to see how they perform today, the Holy Roman Emperor and his army. But if you're enjoying the content at the moment and would like to see more Napoleon Total War 3, then do remember to leave a like, subscribe if you're new around here, and a comment to show your support. And if you'd like to see more Napoleon Total War 3, let me know in the comments. And let me know who you're rooting for. Are you rooting for France and their allies, or are you rooting for the Russians and their allies and the Holy Roman Empire? It'll be interesting to see who will win. I think it's going to be quite evenly matched, but I mean, you can have some French infantry unit going into this farmhouse here, and it looks like they're going to be fighting out. The Russians are desperately sending up more troops of their own as well. They've got some musketeers going in this direction. And we've got the first shots of the battle going off by the sounds of it. Where are they going off?
This building has fallen to the enemy.
Not quite sure. It sounds like they're over here. Oh, they're here. It's these Strelki, this light infantry unit. They're shooting stuff on. And here we go. A huge cavalry battle about to erupt here. Looks like the Holy Roman Empire and the French are going into combat. And you can see the Ottomans are over here. The Holy Roman Empire's got like all of his cavalry. He's come back across from that far side against the Orient army. It's now coming here to face the French. And it looks like the French in their red are winning. The Chasseurs à Cheval, the Guard are winning. I mean, the Russians are now sending in their own cavalry. It is going to be a multinational cavalry fight, and we've got some infantry now of the Russians forming square. That'll help, and you can see them in the tree line over there as well, also looking very, very good. They'll form up again in a moment. But it looks like it, I don't know, it's kind of a bit of a draw, certainly. At the moment, I see a lot of Holy Roman Empire breaking. The Ottomans are now breaking though as well. The French are not having a fun time of it either. French in their blue and the Holy Roman Empire in their light blue. It's kind of confusing. Like, each faction basically fights in just about every colour. The French fight in red just as much as like the Allies fight in blue, to be honest. Like, for instance, the British cavalry famously fought in blue. But yeah, I get this Russian stuff to go straight over and take out these chasseurs here before they get any pot shots at you. But I mean, we have got a unit here forming square. It's that oh, it's a Leger. I don't know what this unit is. It must be like a light infantry unit, I think. I'm not sure, but I mean, it looks like it seems like it's a bit of a draw. I think both sides lost a fair few units of cavalry there. Maybe the French lost a few more. I can't see any of the Roman Empire units like breaking off the face of the battlefield, but who knows? I mean, it looks like the Prussians are already going to be walking into a stubborn defense here of the Iranians and the French again. They're going to just mount up some infantry, and they're going to just get ready. I mean, it looks like the Iranians have got artillery pieces on the side here, and they're firing into the flank of the Prussians, which is a great idea. I mean, you can't see directly through the trees, but you can see they're obviously like got all this artillery here. They've got a lot of artillery here as well. And they're just firing into the sides of these guys. I mean, I'm sure these Prussians are taking a few casualties. I mean, there's big holes opening up in their formations. But if they just carry on moving down the hill, they should be okay. The cavalry should just walk away. It won't want to face this infantry. And the French are still trying to encamp themselves at the bottom of this town at like the very foot. And we've got some infantry here facing off against the Russians. Looks like the Russians have been scared off. The French always have been better at shooting. And there's a lone horse just going by with no rider. What a sad sight. But you can see the Russians over there. They're still preparing a defense. Got grenadiers I can see there as well. That'll be a stern defense. I mean, I don't know if this unit should be really pushing forward. It's pushing forward into a lot of Russians. Is he going to go for a bayonet charge? Possibly. I don't know. No. You can see the Russians over there. The officer just firing his pistol. Like, I will pick them off one by one, men. You do the same. But you can see there that guard, oh, not a guard, that infantry unit there, but the French just outgunned. It shouldn't have pushed that far. You can see the Russians were basically in an L shape, like here. If you like see with my cursor. And they just sort of like shot on every angle at that French unit. Kind of a waste. But the French are now dug in this farmhouse here. So the Russians and the French are going to be fighting over this, well, this building for quite a while, I have a feeling. Here goes in some grenadiers. They're going to be facing off against, I presume, some I don't know what this unit is. It's probably an infantry unit. Leger, I'm presuming, is like just foot along with a line, which is spelled like with a G in it. I can't do French. French just doesn't work. But you can see in there the grenadiers are going to break the probably break that unit. I mean, they're also firing outside here, these Strelki. But the yeah, the Ottomans over there again trying to fight against the Holy Roman Empire with this cavalry. Not going to win. I mean, definitely a good idea to try and press the Holy Roman Empire on two fronts. Because it looks like the Russians are going to basically take control of this village against the French. I mean, if this Orient French army can come around and swing into the flank, that's a real big win for the French and their allies, while the Ottomans hold them in place here. But where's the Helder expedition coming? I mean, the Helder expedition looks like he's still keeping a lot of his troops in reserve. Maybe he's wanting to see what the Orient army does. But I mean, the Helder expedition, if you didn't know, is a combination of Russian and British units. So we have a lot of British units here. And we have some British artillery as well. I actually haven't seen any Russian Helder units. It might just be a cheap British army. But it looks like the Grenadiers have taken this building. I'm presuming this is the building they have taken. No, they haven't. Oh, the Holy Roman Empire's taking this building out here, which is another one that's worth 1 point. As you can see here, worth 1 point on the mini-map. And they're just going to camp it out here, these men on top of this hill. Or the top of this parapet. And we've got plenty of French troops here that could definitely go in and storm it. And I mean, it's definitely not the worst idea in the world. I mean, they have a lot of cavalry, though. So, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, the Ottomans and the French Orient Army need to do a nice coordinated attack. And they could squash the Holy Roman Empire in two just before, like, the Helder expedition arrives. They want to be really aggressive. But, yeah, look at this. This house is being fought over desperately by both sides. I mean, the Russians are now actually fighting 2 French units in here. Not that you can really see it. It's a shame with the the building combat. It's a bit of a... It's not the greatest. But we have more infantry fighting in here. It's actually being run down by cavalry. And some grenadiers coming in, I think. Yeah, I think these are grenadiers. Looking at their... yeah, they're definitely grenadiers. Looking at their hats. So the Russians are causing a huge rout. And the Russians are doing what they do best. And that's just charging in there and just destroying stuff. But you can see the French are going to not allow that. Any units to come out of that building, like out of this area here, going to get shot by artillery and by all these gunners here. Well, not all good gunners. These line infantry here. Yeah, all these line infantry. Just a firing squad for all the Russians in there. And I think they're just running just as much. So it's kind of it's a really close thing. But it looks like the Russians have taken this farmhouse. So they now control most of this area here. Where have they taken now? They've taken the farmhouse all the way back there. They have the Helder expedition. Do they really need to take that one at the moment? Probably not. The Prussians seem like they're having a rough time against the Iranians. What's this? There's some Schutzen breaking. Yeah, they're still struggling with this huge artillery point over here. We can't see it, but there are explosions going off here, which kind of obviously indicates that the artillery is still there. But they need to be careful. And we've got cavalry over there now. That's for the Iranians that are coming around. Let's have a look at some of these Iranian infantry. I can't imagine it's great. Yeah, I'm already looking at these units and I'm just thinking, these aren't going to hold against the elite Prussians. But they've got to do their best. Hopefully their cavalry is really good, and I presume that their artillery's got to be reasonably good as well. I don't know. Could be wrong. With their cavalry, I don't know. This looks okay. It looks about as good as their infantry. It looks literally like the infantry just mounted on horses. But what they're trying to chase down some musketeers. I mean, they're just going to guard this road. They could probably just fire anything that comes towards them. And I mean, there's cavalry over here as well. What we've got some hussars as well. And there you go. A volley's going to go off. They'll shoot a few of these boys. But yeah, not Prussia. Persia needs to be ever so careful. He doesn't want to overextend because, I mean, this is a long way from his allies. And he could just, lose a load of cavalry here for no reason. And here we go. Prussia's just going to go in with his lancers. I thought these were hussars. It says hussars there, but they have lancers. I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, they are absolutely destroying these cavalry units here. And yeah, they're all gone. Look at that. Wow. Hussars just decimating these units. But I mean, Persia's going to just respond with a charge into the musketeers. And there you go. That's a nice trade there. I mean, it's actually probably a better trade for Persia because he could rout a... No, he's not going to rout it. He's not going to rout this musketeer unit. He's decided to be a coward and retreat. I mean, it's probably actually the better idea. Run to live another day or fight to live another day. As some cuirassiers are coming up, they would have definitely been an issue for the Persians. I don't even know if the Persians got anything like that. And you can see the Russians are now flying into the side. They don't even care about all this infantry here and all the infantry fire. They just charged in and wiped out that Persian unit. Wow. It's all going off. You just can't get enough. I'm looking at some of these units. Look at these Persians. They're like it. They've got a red coat style going on themselves. Everyone's just firing in red. Shame the British aren't here to represent the boys in red. But yeah, it seems, I would say it's sort of calmed down, but it's definitely not. I mean, you can see over here, the Holy Roman Empire now is duking out. He's got some Grenzers here, fighting out against some of the line infantry of the French. And he's just trying to hold this flank to defend that building he's just taken. But you can see, yeah, these Grenzers, they'll do a decent job against these line infantry. The sheer numbers would say that the Grenzers will win out of sheer amount of number of guns, but they might just be really poor morale and they might break really quickly. I mean, they're falling back actually. They're not liking it. They're not liking it one bit. I mean, they need to be careful with sending their general up so close as well. And certainly falling back while you're getting shot in the back is not going to do any good for your morale. But yeah, look at this. The Ottomans got a lot of infantry here ready to go. I mean, this can't be great infantry either. I mean, these Bosnian infantry by the looks of it, Bosnali something or other. But yeah, they do not look like they're very regular troops, put it like that. I don't even know if they've got any regular troops, to be honest. Probably not. Yeah, so it looks like, I mean, it looks like the Russians are going to hold on to the town. It looks like with the help of the Holy Roman Empire, they should be okay there. The Helder expedition still yet to really decide where it's going to go. It looks like it is going to go all the way around here, and it might be going for an early extreme flank, go around this little lake here, and force the French Orient Army back. Because, I mean, at the moment, it looks like the Russians, the Holy Roman Empire, and the Prussians are going man for man with the rest of these armies. Like, and including the Orient Army. I mean, the Orient Army's barely shown itself, really. But it looks like Helder Expedition almost has got, like, free reign to go for whichever army it fancies. So I think it is going to go for the Orient Army over here. With the support of some of these HRE Dragoons, they can just go all the way around here. I mean, there is more stuff appearing now, like some chasseurs or guides de cheval, I don't know. These might be just chasseurs, but just a bit different, who knows. They've got a nice little gun placement up here as well. This must be a little 4-pounder, actually. What's that fire? That's probably firing down on the... oh no, it's going to shoot these Holy Roman Empire cavalry. Not a bad target, but I mean, it's a fast-moving target. I mean, I think one maybe hit? Yeah, I think one hit out of all of those. They're probably better shooting all this huge column over here of English infantry arriving. But yeah, I mean, the HRE also needs to be careful because there's a lot of French in this wood here. They could just flank these Grenzers. And then this defense here is kind of undone. And you need to be especially be careful when there's a gun that you just got here, a 3-pounder that's like just firing to the side of the Ottomans. But I mean, the French could just sneak forward a unit. I think they... oh no, they've got some Grenzers here. Got some Jaeger Grenzers. That's a good little guard to have. Well played by the HREs. Got like something just to keep an eye on these guys. They are actually hidden as well. But look how close they are. They don't... I don't even think these guys know. Or maybe the French know. Or the Austrians know the French are there. Oh, not Austrians, HRE. But yeah. And it looks like Persia tried to do an assault here on the Russians, and it failed because they formed square formation. But yeah, it looks like the whoa, looks like the Prussians really are taking it to the Persians. Look at this. This seems like an absolute rout across this bridge right now. I mean, the cavalry's trying to defend the rear, but I mean, as the infantry runs, but I don't know if that's a good idea. They should just get out of there. They're going to set up along this... oh my gosh, what a hit. They're just setting up along the river over there and just going to shoot these guys down. I mean, they're getting hit themselves, are the Prussians. I'd chase across with the cuirassiers. Do the damage. I mean, they're really pushing on... I mean, they need to push on this artillery piece. It's a really, like, nicely in place artillery piece that can just, like, fire into most of the Austrian position... Prussian positions, sorry. And it's taken absolute chunks out of this musketeer unit here. I don't know if it's getting many kills, but it's taking chunks out of them. Oh, there's another one there. Look at this. The Moravsky is like absolutely shattered. And might break actually because of that hit. That was a really good hit there. Yeah, they might break this musketeer unit. Prince of Orange. They're not looking so good. And the men are running. Who is fleeing now? Oh, it is the Russians. We got some Strelki fleeing. The Russians really taking the fight to the French at the moment. I mean, they're playing really, really aggressive, and I like to see it. I'm really enjoying this. And the French are actually now going to turn around and send some of the cavalry up. Might not be the best idea, charging after these cavalry of the Russians. Might want to get them back as soon as possible. The Ottomans yet to really commit many of their infantry. They've committed some cavalry, and it didn't go so well for them, but yeah, I've yet to see their infantry going. I feel like this might be one of the most elite units. The Denzila, I don't know. They look really cool, though. Look at these guys. Showing off their muscles. I can't see anything that looks like a Janissary unit at the moment. But then again, I might be blind, and I can't read Turkish, so got to give me a break there. But yeah, it looks like the Helder Expedition is just about to get in position, and duke off what would probably be about half the Orient Army. And the Grenzers have actually won in this choke point here, if you call it that, like a choke point between the river and the tree line. And they've, yeah, they're able to push forward. It looks like normal infantry units going forward as well. Or quite a few. Look at that. Through the forest. All of these beautiful, gorgeous men. And I'm sure the French are falling back yet. Full steam ahead, falling back. And their general here is not too far away from the front line either. Need to be very careful there. What we've got here, we've got an artillery piece, an 8-pounder. And look at that, the French 4-pounder has broken. How comes that happening? Did it get focused on by other artillery? I think it did, by this Helder artillery. Yeah, I'm going to say it did, because look at all the artillery shots around it. That's not a good sign. And here we go, we're going to see the Helder expedition in combat. It's sort of like the French and the English fighting, but it's sort of not. And this is weird for the English. Like, they've got redcoats facing them. It's kind of like when they face the Danish, I guess. And they're forming square, as it looks like the cavalry could come in, but it's not going to. And there you go, the Helder expedition charges in a unit. That's a really good idea. Units don't fight well when they're in square formation. And they've broken this first one. They might break the second one. The boys in pink. Certainly it's a better idea to charge in there than just, like, stay just outside and not doing anything. And yeah, look at these boys. Just duking it out. Oh, and they're getting pointed by... Oh, that's a very nice hammer and anvil. Look at that. We've got the guards de cheval. Oh, and a general's been killed. Whose general has been killed? The Persian general has been killed. I presume this is by a snipe. Yeah, it's got to be. He's, like, nowhere near any of the front lines. That's a general snipe if I've never seen one. And, I mean, to respond to it, I mean, the Persians are just going to carry on doing some harassment over here. They've actually broken the cuirassiers, sorry. And they've done a... Wow, that's a very good unit to kill off. I mean, Krasi is very nasty. And the general has died for the Allies. Who has died now? It's the Prussian general, I'm going to say. Yeah, it's this guy here, I presume. I don't know. It must be. Or is it that general? No, it's this one here. Karl von Braunstorff, Wolfen Brutal. But so basically, these two generals here have killed each other off. I feel like they just sniped each other after one... Like, the Prussians sniped the Persians. The Persians like, well, we can play those dirty tactics, and they snipe them back. But it looks like the Russians is going to dig in now around this ground that they've taken here around this village and wait for the French, because the French are going to come to them. They want this two-point like city. They're going to need to come for them. These Strelki could do with looking. Oh, they're not even Strelki, but they could do with looking the right way. And look at that. That cavalry is under. It's very much under risk. What is this? This is the cannon crew is running away. Oh, that's not good. Look at this. This Cuirassier unit for the French. Just running into stakes. It's not good. Oh, some poor units to lose. But yeah, they're going to now just fall back. Well played by the Russians. Getting the crew out of there. Saving them. And it looks like the Ottomans and the French are taking an offensive now. And the Roman Empire is actually in danger of being split in two. Look at this unit of Ottomans. That's a huge, huge unit. And it's going to go after the artillery piece. And I mean, they're firing point blank range with their artillery, but not at the Seafer cavalry. And this Seafer cavalry will mop up the artillery of the HRE. And what they're going after now, they're going after some like sort of hussars. Oh, we've got lots of dragoons over here as well. I mean, definitely a good unit to take out. I mean, there's 96 men in this unit. Take it out. Oh my gosh, the Helder expedition is actually going ham on the French over here. Just seeing absolutely like droves of the French retreating. They really don't need this right now. I mean, they've got a unit all the way over here. How they managed that? But yes, I mean, the Ottomans need to do something to try and distract the HRE and the Helder expedition. Save the army of the Orient. But, I mean, they could charge into all this infantry. I don't know if they'd have success, but because it's a lot, but they might. And, I mean, the Ottomans are really, really attacking this column formation. Just everything in column, fighting, moving, is so much better in Napoleon Total War 3. But I don't know if it's the right idea at this point. We've got the Freikorps here fighting against just an absolute multitude of units here. Freikorps looks like it's losing. I mean, no surprise, it's getting shot like every 2 minutes. Oh my gosh, an absolute mess of French, Prussians, Persians, all sorts in here. What a mess. What an actual mess. I think the Prussians and... not the Prussians, the Persians and the French have made a push forward. You can see their infantry in the back coming forward in their red, glorious arms. And the Prussians could be hard-pressed here. Oh, they are going to be hard-pressed. I've seen about 4, 5, 6 units of the Prussians breaking. The Prussians, like, they were really pushing up here onto this land bridge. And they're now being forced back. And the Russians might have to turn some reserves over here. So unfortunately the replay did crash, but we are back, and we're back basically where we were before. We have a huge assault here, where you can see, by the Persian and French forces against the Prussians. And the Prussians are in a lot of trouble at the moment, it would seem. They have been forced back. I mean, they've got some really cool grenadiers here, but they may be very cool, but they're getting broken. And as before, we said there's about 5 or 6 units here that are breaking, and that is really unfortunate. Really, the HRE needs to start making a push, like I said, to come and force the Ottoman position and try and allow the Russians to try and relieve the Prussians. Basically allow the forces to sort of shunt across, because as you can see here on the minimap, the left for the red forces, which is the allied forces, is kind of crumbling, to be fair. It's starting to crumble, especially here, like in this sort of chink here, just around, and then they got like speared straight for the well, straight for this town, really, which is what they're trying to do. They're just going to spearhead straight through here, and they can, really, with this Krassia unit. It's pretty fresh, so they could be in a lot of trouble here, could the allied forces. I mean, there's a solid line of Ottomans here. I don't know how great these Ottoman forces are, but, yeah, I mean, they may not be great, but, I mean, this attack has forced the HRE to now retreat to the town, basically. He's going to turn all of his forces here into a huge line to face the huge line of the Ottomans. And I mean, the French are carrying on. They're going to go deep with those Krassias. They're going in, and they're going after some of these musketeers. They probably will take these guys out. Need to be careful. They want to keep these Krassias alive as long as possible. I mean, they are just going to run these guys out. I mean, they're going to go into the next one, I think. Try and avoid being killed too much. And here we go. Yeah, in they go. Chop down these guys, and I mean, they're falling back. Actually, they're being very smart, the Russians there. But yeah, the HRE really just needs to like get as many troops back, force these Ottomans. I'm sure their infantry is not great, and I mean, the Helder expedition looks like he's doing a really good job on the Orient French army, which I cannot see any of it like left. They seem to be just like routed fully. I mean, they've gone like to the wind. I mean, they've got like one unit over here which is fresh and full, but I mean, apart from this, I can't see any Orient armies. I mean, luckily the Persian army has also lost a general, but so has the Prussians, and it can show because the Prussians are breaking like hell. They're like having to fall. They're falling back to this hill that they're on, and they're being chased. And they're actually going to get hit here by some. Their cavalry's going to, no, the Persian cavalry, sorry, is going to go in and take out these guns here. You imagine? Oh no, maybe not. The Persians actually routed the. Oh no, well actually they're both routed. That's fair enough. But yeah, the Prussians are in a sticky position here. I mean, the Russians are just about alive. They have a tiny unit of dragoons in here trying to battle off the cavalry of Persia. But I mean, yeah, right now I'd fall back into the streets. I think they've overextended of the Allies, and the French have made them pay, along with the Persians and the Ottomans. Certainly made them pay the price. I mean, certainly this HRE should just get right up in the face of the Ottomans. I think they are the only army that should be aggressive. I mean, obviously keep their left flank very much attached to this Russian position by the farmhouse, but they should just be really aggressive up in the face of the Ottomans and just firing down. I mean, they've got the cavalry now coming around here. We've got Ottoman forces here that are routing. What have they broken here? Looks like they've broken like an infantry unit. Don't know if it's any good, but it's being broken by some Piedmont infantry here. And we've got some of the Queen's Dragoons coming across. I mean, it looks like, sounds like there's more stuff in here as well of the Ottomans. I can hear gunshots going off. I don't know. Might be wrong. But yeah, they need to be aggressive. I mean, they actually have been very aggressive here. Actually, they've gone after a gun. So that's well played there by the Holy Roman Empire, sending in some dragoons. Going to go after some of these guys. I mean, here's the remains of the Orient army, it would seem. They have got some units in this house here still firing. I mean, this is also the general for the Orient army, but I'm sure he's not got much left. This might be all his infantry, all his forces left. But if that cavalry can just stay in the back lines, it can do some more damage. That'd be really, really good. Really well played there. Where is yeah, Napoleon's over here, who is the leader of the French army, of like the main French army, you could say. And he's still making his way forward to these boys, the boys in blue, the famous boys in blue, the French forces. They do look great, and they're going to go and try and storm and retake this town from the Russians. Not a bad idea. We've got the general here. We've got Alexander Sorov. He's actually dismounted, I just realised. He's dismounted, and his horse is just here chilling. Don't know if that's a good idea. You probably want him on horseback. So when he's well, able to run out of here when the fighting gets pretty tough. But yeah, it looks like it's gonna be a big old line battle now between the HRE and the Ottomans. I mean, there's some big HRE units here. Look at this one, 205 men. And is he going to open fire? Let's have a volley. A volley, men. Glorious. Glorious. Another one for the Emperor. Let's send these Ottomans back to whence they came. I mean, yeah, the HRE, I mean, like, the Ottomans have been, like, rivals for, like, centuries at this point. I mean, HRE also kind of, like, just call Austria, I mean, really, at this point. But, yeah, like, the Habsburgs and the Ottomans have just been at war with, like, each other for, like, centuries, really, or, like, on and off. So, I mean, this is nothing new to them. They're pretty used to, I mean, these Ottoman units are holding their ground, I'll give them that. I mean, you don't get many kills in a line battle in comparison to, say, like, actually charging with bayonets or with, like, cavalry. I mean, look at the amount of units they're stacking in this building as well. They've actually got their general in there, which is maybe not a bad idea, but, I mean, you can just focus down this building now with artillery if you wanted to. I mean, I just love, like, look at this, the chaos. You can see the guns here with the French that have been abandoned, and, like, of the Russians as well, and now, like, they're fighting over them. Like, this battle's been raging on for ages. So long we've had a crash in there. Yeah, here we go. Grenadiers now fighting out. What are they fighting against? Another line infantry unit. The Grenadiers should win this pretty easily. And yeah, I think there you go, routing. I just carry on with the Grenadiers. Push forward. See if you can get them to rout. But here we go. The Persians sending more stuff in. They're sending in some cavalry. We've got another general dead. Who is dead now? Oh, Napoleon's dead. I think he's run over some stakes here. Oh, what a mistake. Yeah, he's run over stakes. Oh, God, that's not going to end well. I mean, the HRE is now also going in. He's actually going to fully rout Napoleon. And then you go, and he's going to rout himself. So Napoleon is dead. Oh, what a mistake. I mean, it's kind of a mistake. It's also, like, just clumsiness. You just don't realize that these things... they are hard to see, though, those obstacles. And you can see here, look at this. The Helder expedition is now coming back down through the streets to come and reinforce his position. And this is what they're going to try and hold. This is what they need to hold. It's a 2-point building or, like, capture point. And you can see all the British infantry here marching forward. And you can see the HRE is going to fall back, actually. I would have thought they'd hold their ground, just let the Helder expedition then just come up and reinforce. The Helder expedition certainly will be coming around to come and face the Persians, which are actually surprisingly having a lot of success. I would have thought, like, Persia, not known for fighting in the Napoleonic Wars. They didn't even take part in the Napoleonic Wars. They tried to do some trade deals with, like, Napoleon at points and stuff, but yeah. These guys I wouldn't have thought would have been able to, like, stand to, like, the Prussians, for instance. But, they're doing a good job. I mean, their cavalry is certainly saving them, but, I mean, these boys do look glorious. Their long, glorious beards. What have we got here? We've got artillery coming up. This artillery's been a pain in the side of Prussia all day. It's just a 4-pounder. Nothing impressive. I mean, Prussia's in full retreat. He's, like, having none of it. Having absolutely none of it. I mean, I still think that HRE just needs to be aggressive. Needs to be aggressive here. If you can punch through here, then the Allies are in... Well, not the Allies. The French are in a lot of trouble. I mean, they could just punch through the French position now. Now Napoleon's dead. You can see that the Ottomans having to stretch out their line even more now that the Helder expedition's arrived and that the French are starting to break due to Napoleon dying. What a way for Napoleon to go. The master of Europe, and he's just killed by a stake. And not even the tastiest type of steak, it's just one planted into the ground. Look at those Ottomans just firing off there. This is glorious. Can't even see half the line because of all the smoke going off. And it looks like there's some action going on over here now, just realizing. Yeah, it looks like the Ottomans are actually going to try to do an assault, by the looks of it, possibly into this building. They're going to... Oh no, they're going to get countered by the Russian Grenadiers. I think these Russian Grenadiers are a bit mad, but they might win this fight, you know. They are Russian. And actually, here come the rest of them. Yeah, they might rout these Ottomans. Oh, yeah, they might win that fight. That's chaos in there. That is chaos. Yeah, they're going to win that, the Russians. Look at all the morale just drop for the Ottomans. They just don't like it up them. If you know what reference that's from, well done to you. You're a great legionnaire. A true Dad's Army fan. But if you don't know what Dad's Army is, then look it up. It's a great bit of fun to watch. Give you that. If you're into your like sort of like World War II, like old wacky comedy, I guess. But yeah, here we go. It looks like the Grenadiers aren't going to hold up. They're just going to carry on into the French, and that's not a bad idea. Look at these French units. They are not looking good on the old morale, and it kind of just then leaves the Ottomans. I mean, the Persians the two armies I thought least likely to survive this longest. I thought the French were going to carry the day, if anything, but the French are actually getting routed. I mean, obviously, if you're a really good player, you can use any of these factions and get them to work really well, but I mean, the Persians certainly have used their cavalry to great effect. Their infantry's been pretty solid, but I wouldn't have said impressive. It's not doing anything like great. I mean, these guys here don't look like they're going to just like hold the line. They look like they could break anytime soon, and these ones certainly look like they're peasants. But for all I know, they're pretty good. But yeah, the French have got about 4 units left. They're in full retreat. They're spent. They've got no cavalry. They've got nothing. Oh, and here we go. More action going on. We've got the HRE now going in. Setting in his, like, what is that? Vinco? I don't know. It's like a hussar unit from, like, somewhere in their vast empire. And we've now got a Sifa unit coming in. This might be the general. I don't think it is, but it looks very general-like with all the armor. Like, you see this guy here. He looks very sultan-like. I don't think he is. But they are actually breaking everything here, and that's the Helder expedition coming to help there. And they've now punched a hole through this Ottoman line, and they can just go in. And I mean, they're trying to, like, sort out the line with a counter-charge of infantry and cavalry, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I mean, they're not even going to pay interest. They're like, now we've done the damage, we don't need to cope, we don't need to carry on. That's smart there by the Allies. You need to know when to give up. I mean, I say that as they then charge in. You need to know when you've done enough damage, when the damage is done, not to carry on. Don't overextend yourself. But I mean, I don't think they're overextending themselves here. They were playing it safe, and I mean, they could just send in some infantry or just more cavalry, but they probably should win this fight anyway. Certainly with the like these French infantry here, they're probably firing to the backs of their own men, and that definitely does not do any help for the morale. So that's a shame there, but you can see now the Ottomans are in full retreat. It's kind of down to the tiny bits of the Orient army and to Persia, who actually is still taking the fight to Prussia. I mean, the HRE is now coming around to help. I wonder if the HRE is going to get the most kills. He seems to have been everywhere, to be honest. And you can see in come the infantry of Persia. And we'll show the mini-map, and you can see the blue is the like the Persian and the French forces, and the Persians have basically reformed the line here. This is their new line, their battle line. The bits over here in the south have just disintegrated. That's the French and the Ottomans. Oh my god, this guy just flew by. But yeah, so I mean, the Persians are very, very vulnerable to being flanked around. If they were going to be, they could be at this point. I mean, well, they have like no flank defense at this point. I mean, the French are sort of rallying, but I mean, I don't know how long that's going to last. They're going to just fire and flank at these guys. I mean, they've got chasseurs à pied here. These guys are pretty nice. They're a bit like a guard chasseur unit, really. They're very nice. They look like they're almost like old guard, really, but they're not. And then in goes some Helder expedition. They were really quiet, weren't they? They were just snuck up. They were like spec ops British then. But yeah, I mean, there you go. The classic red versus blue. France versus England, even though it's not really England. Or the UK. It's not even any of them, yeah. It's just like a Russian-English hybrid. But yeah, there you go. I think like that's probably going to determine the battle. I really thought that the Persians might, and like their allies might have taken it. Especially when like Prussia like just got absolutely beaten up, and the Russians look at some point like they were out of it, really. But it looks like it's going to be, I mean, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. The Persians could still pull this back, but I don't know if they have enough men. They're going to have to beat Prussia quickly. But Prussia seems to have his iron will back, and he's surrounding some units and just shooting them down. And there's a grenadier unit over there. It's been flanked here by musketeers as this unit. Yeah, there you go. That's one broken. Then they can move on to the next. I even forgot that Persia's not even got a general. Like, so he's done well to survive this long, really. Like, the Ottomans still have their general, and so do the French Orient, but they've, like, got obliterated. I mean, the French Orient seems to stand no chance against the Helder expedition. Whatever happened. And now we got Grenadiers coming in. These Grenadiers just don't even stop. They just don't stop. These Russian Grenadiers just like, nah, we're having enough. And there you go. Wow, look at that. A chain rout by the Persians. I think that's like their entire army broken. I mean, they had a unit all the way over here to the Helder expedition. They could have just flanked with if they wanted to. But yeah, I think that's basically their entire army. We've got, what have we got here? This might be the general for the Ottomans. I don't know. Tahir Passer. I don't think it is, but it's another unit of the Ottomans coming up. No, it's definitely not the general. But he must have been chilling in that building all the way over there. I think he was. And he's just going to go, we'll take them all down. But it looks like it's just going to be the French Orient over here that's going to have the last bit of excitement. And it looks like they're falling back on this building here. But, I mean, this is the only building that they now hold. It's a real shame. They did a good job to the French. I mean, the French, well, all the, like, the French, like, forces, not just, like, the actual true French, but, like, the Ottomans and the Persians. I think the Ottomans are probably the least. They seem to be in column formation so long. And, like, in a tiny, like, area. They didn't really stretch out and stretch their enemy. They could have, like, enveloped and forced the, like, they could have they could have gone, like, round here, because the Holy Roman Empire had, like, barely anything here. He, like, basically had his full, like, strength over here, ready to smash the Orient army, even though it was basically done after the Helder expedition had its way. And he could have gone in there. I mean, obviously it would have been risk, because you would have been, like, going between two, like, fire lines, you know, the Russians on this side and the HRE would have turned stuff around. But it's worth the risk, I guess. You've got to risk it, but, I mean, it's just unfortunate, really. Unfortunate that Persia can beat Prussia quickly enough. Or they can beat Prussia quickly enough, because it wasn't just Persia in the end. It was like the French and the Ottomans all, like, combined, basically did a full-on assault. Yeah, these final few units there, I mean, they're just mopping stuff up. I might just fast forward for the sake of it, because, I mean, there's no need to just see these final few units just get routed. I mean, I don't think we're going to see any difference. Like, Persia's fully gone. I mean, it's just that unit of Ottomans over there. That's all left. And the French finally going to start firing. There we go. Line infantry doing their thing in their funny colours that they definitely would have stuck out like a sore thumb in Egypt. Like, who wants to wear nearly... This is like nearly pink going on here. And you're telling me that they'd wear that in Egypt. If you wore it in Egypt, you get laughed at. No wonder they got beaten. I mean, they did win all the battles, but they kind of lost the war. But yeah, I'm just fall back on this farmhouse even more. I mean, they're getting flanked, that's the thing. They cannot stop the flank. The HRE flank, it's just too strong. This has been a long, long battle, so I hope you guys have enjoyed it, because I certainly have. I enjoy always watching a bit of Napoleon Total War 3. Always great to see some glorious line battles take place and some bayonet charges. Don't show off Napoleon Total War 3 enough, I feel. Especially being a big Napoleonic fan. Just love the history, not even like just playing like Napoleon Total War 3, which I do enjoy doing, but I just like love the history, and I don't really do it enough. But there we go. They look like they captured another building. What they captured today? Oh, is this one all the way over? Where is this? Oh, this is like all the way over by where Persia was. I'm pretty sure. Oh no, it's not. This is where well, it kind of was where Persia was. It's kind of where the French were as well. So it's kind of like well, I don't know, it's a rub in the face, really. They've kind of already taken all the buildings. They don't need to take them all, but here we go. The French are just doing their last bit. They're in their red coats here. We'll watch to the last man. They'll fight to the last man. For the Emperor, even though these guys aren't around when the Emperor is around. They'd like, we have no Emperor. We have a first consul. No Emperor. But like the detail in these units is so good. They've got like the leopard skins on like the top of the hats. Looks awesome. Not on the top, but like around the side. Oh, there he goes. Just as inspecting his uniform. I mean, they should just carry on flanking around some of these units. I mean, they should just get this Helder Expedition Cavalry to come in. Just finish off the job. I mean, they're just running Ottomans, which is not very glorious of them. What have they got here? They got some Jaeger Grenzers as well. These guys would be useful just to... Oh, I thought they were cavalry for some reason. Of course, they're Jaegers. They wouldn't be cavalry. What have we got here? We've got another French unit. Another one in red. Yeah, the French here looks like they're gonna be breaking a measure. I mean, this unit here keeps like debating about breaking when he gets shot in the flank, and then he goes, "Nah, we're alright, we're gonna carry on." And these are actually, they might rout a few of these HRE units first. They're having a rough time. All the Helder Expedition is just gonna come forward. They're not having any of it. They're just gonna come forward and they're gonna just charge in, I think. A few more volleys, men. Oh no, they're just gonna get point blank range and fire. This is kind of very apt. These like sort of armies would have fought at the same time in 1799 and 1798 to 01. They would have definitely fought like sort of against each other. Obviously, this is the Orient variant, but you'd obviously have like similar sort of like style uniforms and units at the time. But there you go, a bayonet charge. It's risky for both sides. Both sides might break from this. I mean, it's looking. Ooh, I don't know. I think the French might hold this. The French might hold. I think it's because these guys are getting shot in the back. Yeah. The French held. They broke the Helder expedition. Well done to them. There's still hope. There is still hope, but then you go, then more Russians appear, and just more of everything appears. I mean, they should just storm this building. The Russians should just go in. I mean, they are actually. Here we go. Russians are going to go in. Send everything in. Everything you've got. They don't have enough men. And there you go. The French starting to break. It's the first of many, you imagine. And the general's just hiding behind here. He's like, please don't shoot me. Looks like the French might win that fight, actually, as well. And they're fighting 2 Russian units. I don't know. I can't tell which side's been represented by the green and which one's been represented by the red. I'm going to say that possibly the green might be... I don't know. I don't know, maybe. Maybe it is actually the French that are going to win that fight. I have not a clue. Who's just charging there? Oh, Frederick of York just charged in. The general for the Helder expedition just charged in. And that's going to be the general... that's going to be Frederick dead. Yep, Frederick just went into a charge and got himself killed. So not many generals are getting out of this alive by the looks of it. And the French have sent in another unit. I think one just broke. But yeah, they've actually kind of pushed past the building. And there you go, they've taken it. The Russians did take it. So the green was the Russians. But yeah, there you go. So it looks like the French are finally going to be routed. They kind of pushed out their last stronghold. They're now on the run. And this Honor Vial, who I've never heard of, might as well go in and die for his country. Here he goes. An honourable man. And the Grenzers in here are going to just push back the French infantry. But, I mean, the general's holding. I'm no idea where he is. But he's doing his best, is Vial. And there you go. I think that is the end result. I'm going to just like fast forward now because I think that's the last real bit of engagement. I don't know what oh, there you go. Exactly, just like that. Yeah, so this was sent in by the Russian player, Quick Scratch, so thank you for him for sending this in. It's an excellent, excellent replay. Always glad to have more Napoleon Total War 3 replays, so feel free to send in some more if you are watching. Always love to see some more. Just stick them in the Discord. You know where to put them. And same for anyone else that would like to join the Discord to send in their own Napoleon Total War 3 content, feel free to do so. But yeah, so I mean, he got the... we didn't get the most kills. I thought like the Russians, they had like most of the fighting in that city. But yeah, it seems like it was Antonio Handsome who was playing as the Helder expedition. It's a really strong faction, and like the past 2 videos I've watched, they've done quite well. Getting over 2,000 kills, getting the most on any side. And then followed up by the Holy Roman Empire, and then it was the Russians, and then it was the Prussians getting the most kills. And then for the French forces, it seemed like it was the Persians, no surprise, getting the most kills for them. Then it was the French Orient Army, surprisingly, even though it lost a lot of its forces early on, I thought. And then it was the French normal, and then the Ottomans. So we'll have a quick look at the unit statistics. So most kills, like the Grenadiers, no surprise there. For both units, getting like over 300 kills, so well done to them. And then there are the rest, if you want to have a look at those. But if you've enjoyed this video, then do remember to leave a like, subscribe if you're new around here, and leave a comment to show your support. And until next time, Legionnaires,